Good afternoon everyone. In this lecture, we will discuss the behavior of synchronous motor on variable load and constant excitation condition. Now as we say constant excitation, as excitation given to rotor is constant, the amount of EBPH, the back EMF developed in a motor is also maintained constant, which is equals to VPH. Okay. And our load is variable. Now, if we consider three cases, light load case, medium load case and heavy load case, we are increasing our load to the motor. So, we'll consider the first case, which is a light load case. Now, with the light load case, this is the displacement of EBPH by an angle delta 1 from its ideal position. Okay. And the magnitude of EBPH is same as the VPH. Now the difference, phasor difference of VPH and EBPH, if we draw like this, we'll get, this is our resultant phasor, which is a ERPH1. And what is ERPH1? The resultant phasor is the product of IA1 into ZS. Now ZS is constant, so IA1 ZS. This is the first case. So this complete parallelogram represents the behavior of motor on light load condition. Now for medium load condition, now we have increased somewhat load. Now as we are increasing load, the EBPH again displaced from its initial position towards the right hand side by an angle delta 1, by an angle delta 2 as shown in this figure. Okay, so EBPH is displaced from its ideal position by delta 2. As load increases, load angle delta is also increased. Now as load angle delta increase again, but the magnitude of EBPH is the same, constant with the VPH. Then if we take a phasor difference of VPH and EBPH, then we will got this is a resultant phasor. This in first case, light load case, we will got OB as our resultant phasor. In the medium load case, we will got the resultant phasor as OB dash. Okay, and if you observe this OB and OB dash, the magnitude of OB dash is somewhat increased. So when we are loading our motor, the magnitude of EBPH is maintaining constant, but load angle delta increases. As load angle delta increases, EBPH shifts from its ideal position towards the right hand side. Okay, and the magnitude of resultant phasor is also increased like this. Now the third case is high load condition. Okay, for high load condition, now load on the motor is increased. Okay, load on the motor is maximum, so the rotor will retard from the stator magnetic axis by an angle delta 3. As load is maximum, the load angle delta 3 is also maximum. Okay, so this is the position of EBPH for heavy load condition. Now this is our EBPH, this is VPH. Okay, now if you take its resultant, then the resultant will come like this, OB double dash. So this heavy position resultant we are showing by the OB double dash. So now if you observe this OB dash and this OB double dash, this OB is a smaller than OB dash, and OB dash is smaller than OB double dash. Okay, now see this, what is this? This is the resultant phasor, and this resultant phasor is the product of IA1 ZS. Okay, ZS is throughout constant. So to increase this product, the current drawn by motor, that is IA1, must have to increase. So in first case, the IA1 is, this is the value of IA1. Then in second case, this is IA2, and in this third case, this is IA3. So the IA3 must be greater than IA2 and IA2 must be greater than IA1, okay, to maintain or to increase this product as ZS is constant. Now as ZS is constant, and if we draw the locus like this locus is shown by the dotted line with the IAZS. This locus is called as constant excitation circle, locus of IAZS. Okay, now as ZS is constant, this locus we have got as a constant circle type, and this circle is called as constant excitation circle also. So this is the most important concept to understand. Now again, if we go through this, we have taken a 3 cases, okay, light load case, then medium load case and heavy load case. Now for light load case, rotor retarded with an angle delta 1 by an stator magnetic axis. Then for a medium load case, rotor is retarded by delta 2, and for a heavy load case, rotor is retarded by delta 3. Okay, now as load increases, load angle delta is also increases, and EBPH is shift from its ideal position towards right hand side. As EBPH shifts there, the magnitude of ERPH is increased. Okay, now ERPH magnitude is increased, but ZS is constant. So ZS is constant. To increase this product, the current drawn by motor should increase. Okay, so as load increase, to meet that increased load demand, the motor draws more current from the supply. That we have discussed this in this. Then this is the explanation. Again we have discussed this. As EBPH depends on the flux, we are maintaining EBPH constant by maintaining flux constant by giving constant excitation. Then for constant excitation, if load is varies, then delta keeps on changing. Now due to VPH minus EBPH, IAPH ZS is equals to ERPH. This IAPH ZS is nothing but the resultant phasor. This resultant phasor is also keep on changing. As load increases, delta is also increases. As delta increases, the EAPH ZS is also increases. Okay, as load increases, the magnitude of resultant phasor, that is IAPH into ZS, is also decreases. Now the mechanical power developed by synchronous motor is given by this equation. This is the direct equation. PM is equals to EB VPH upon ZS cos of theta minus delta minus EB square upon ZS cos of theta. Now this delta we know, this delta is the load angle, and this theta is the angle between resultant phasor and current. Okay, about this theta we will discuss in next case in detail, but this theta is equals to angle decided by ZS, and we can find out it as tan inverse of XA RA. So if you have the value of XA and RA, you can find out the angle theta by doing tan inverse of it. Okay, now neglecting RA in this equation, if we neglect RA, this ZS will become XS. Okay, and put in place of theta 90 degree. So our equation will become like this: EB VPH upon ZS cos of, now here in place of ZS we will have XS. Okay, so cos of 90 minus delta, which is equals to EB VPH upon XS into sin delta. As theta we are putting 90, so cos of 90 is 0, so this whole term is been neglected. Then EB VPH in place of ZS we are having XS now, as we are neglecting RA. Then cos of 90 minus delta. Now cos of 90 minus theta is sin theta, so EB VPH upon XS into sin delta. Okay, so this is the value of maximum power developed. Now torque is equals to maximum power developed upon angular frequency, omega s. So put the value of Pm and omega s, then all other, this part is a constant, okay. EB is also constant, VPS supply voltage is also constant, XS is constant, at ZS is constant, speed of synchronous motor is also constant. So torque is directly proportional to sine delta. So as delta increases, torque is also increases, okay, precisely with the sine function. Then these are the variable torques developed in a synchronous motor: starting torque, running torque, pull-in torque and pull-out torque, okay. So we will discuss one by one. The starting torque is the torque developed in a synchronous motor at a start when rated voltage is applied to stator, and this torque is also called as the breakaway torque. The next is the running torque. This is the torque developed by motor under running condition, okay. Then pull-in torque. Now we know that initially synchronous motor is rotated at a speed slightly less than the synchronous speed. When the speed is near to synchronous, excitation is switched on and the motor pulls in the synchronism and start rotating as a synchronous speed. The amount of torque developed by the motor at that time, that torque is called as pull-in torque. Means when our synchronous motor is get pulled into the synchronism, okay, that instant's torque is called as the pull-in torque. Then pull-out torque. Now what is pull-out torque? Now we have discussed the torque is directly proportional to sine delta. So as delta increased, torque should also increase, okay. But up to 90 degree, when our delta is 90, then sine of 90 is maximum, okay. So at that point our torque is maximum. But if we are increasing a load beyond to this point, then the motor will lose its synchronism and motor will come out of synchronism and torque will decrease like this, okay. So this is the exact instant when delta is 90 degree electrical, okay. If we are increasing any further load, delta will also increase and our motor will come out of synchronism. At this instant the torque is called as pull-out torque, okay. So the amount of so this is the torque angle characteristics explanation. As delta increases, magnetic locking between stator and rotor starts decreasing. When theta reaches up to 90 degree electrical, the stretch flux lines get broken, as we have discussed, and the magnetic locking between stator and rotor is no more exist, okay. So when the torque produced, so the torque produced at delta is equals to 90 degree is maximum torque by maintaining the electrical or magnetic locking, okay. So if delta is increased beyond the 90 degree, then our magnetic locking will broke down and the amount of torque developed by the motor exactly at delta is equals to 90 degree electrical, that amount of torque is called as pull-out torque, okay. So in this lecture we have discussed about the behavior of synchronous motor on constant excitation and variable load. How we are getting the constant excitation circle, okay. With the ZS constant, I should increase as load is increased, and this locus of ERPH, we are getting this locus as a circle, okay, and this circle is called as the constant excitation circle. This is the most important point of this discussion. Then we have discussed the torque developed by synchronous motor is directly proportional to sine delta. So torque is only dependent upon the load angle delta, okay. Unlike in a DC motor, torque is depends upon the current drawn by armature and flux, but here torque is only depend upon the torque angle delta. Then we have discussed the various talks in a